Hey, 2 days ago I've got removed my last rusty nails and metal, so lucky you. In the next 2 weeks or maybe 3 weeks I will talk about rehab and injury prevention for juggling and flow arts, so stay tuned. I'm lucky to announce that I'm almost metal free. Everything is removed out of my left arm, and now I have to start with rehab, and in this case I will talk in this video all about rehab in the finger, and next week about my wrist, and maybe another video about the elbow. But first let me introduce myself. Hey, I'm Kai, I'm a professional juggler. I started this YouTube channel and I will talk all about juggling with clubs, rings, balls, and the flow art with poise, stuff, hoops, how to train with them, how to perform with them, and how to build them by yourself. So if you are interested in this content, click the subscribe button, ring the bell icon so you don't miss any upcoming video like that. And now let's get started. First, a short disclaimer. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physiotherapist or anything like that. I just talk about my own experience in rehab and in preventing injuries and what I've learned in my last over 20 years of juggling experience and what helped me personally. So if you are really in trouble, have inflammation in your joints or in your ligaments, go see a professional, see a doctor, don't listen to me. But first, let's start a little bit with our hands. For the understanding, in this hand are, I think, 10 or 25% of all bones our body. It's an awesome, complex mechanism here which works really, really fine. Or when it's not working, you're in really big trouble as a juggler. So in the hand itself, there is close to no muscle. Everything from the movement in your finger comes from your underarm. In fact, maybe you can see it. Yes, the movement in this finger only comes in the muscle here, or otherwise in the inside for extending your muscle. So your finger is basically joined with a really long tendon to your muscle here, and it moves the finger. The only really big muscle which is important in your hand is between your thumb and your index finger. In this area you can just simply grab it by yourself and feel it. And this muscle basically enables the movement of your thumb. And the same is for the wrist. In your wrist are 5 or 6 bones, I think. And again, around the wrist, you have only soft tissue, like tendons and stuff like that. And the whole stability of the wrist also comes down from here. It's important to understand how this works a little bit to learn where the problems come from. And so let's get started. Basically, what we want to check first is how is the range of movement in our fingers. In this case, my right hand is happily the healthy hand. Your fingers should start like this, touching each other and itself, and go straight up. And the same with your thumb. This should be your normal movement range. For example, if you have a really, really bad inflammation in your tendons, it can happen that you can only bend your finger as far as this. That's a sign that you have really bad problems with your tendons, so go see a doctor. On my left hand, you see it's okay-ish, but especially the thumb is still not working fine, but at least it works and it will be fine, I'm sure. So basically you can do this movement to warm up your joints, your ligaments in your finger, and don't forget your thumb, but make it with your thumb and your finger separate, so you don't interfere with each other. And that's basically the first check, and a really great way to warm up all your fingers, because a lot of people I will see will bend them like that, but that's not the best way. In this case, you are only stretching the tendons of your finger, don't get into the motion of it, and it absolutely don't affect the muscles down here, which are responsible for the fingers. There are better ways for it. I will show you in a few more videos. And now let's start with the rehab. I show you some tools that I personally preference, that are my personal preference, and I have by myself the best experience with it. So now let's grab it one by one. At first, these are these kind of massage rings. Yeah, you maybe think, wow, that's just a simple ring or a massage ring, why should I use it? Of course, it doesn't add some magic and all your problems will disappear. But especially when you have really swollen and thick fingers, like I have at the moment here, it helps a lot to reduce the swollen finger, to get it thinner and more normal again. So you just roll it over your finger. And you can do this at the evening for the TV or in every break. And I personally like this feeling. It's just nice to get it over the finger and over every finger, and just to get it a little bit more the blood flowing and circulation on, to reduce the swelling, Schwellung, whatever. And the same is there in a bigger size for your whole forearm. So you can do this basically itself. And it's just a nice feeling to get a blood flowing and to reduce any trouble with it. Now, these rubber bands are pretty awesome. You can get them in different strengths. And what you can use is, let me grab it for a second, these latex training bands, or Terraband in German. And basically, with them you train your antagonist. So what it means, as a juggler, we always train the closing of our hand when we catch something, but we don't train the releasing or extending of the fingers. And all this monotone movement is really bad, because you train only the one muscle, in this case here on your arm, and not the other one here on your arm. And so one muscle is always a little bit stronger than the other one. And that can lead to a lot of trouble, because there's always too much stress on the tendons. And so this is the easy one, or not the easy one. That is the most easy to get. And I have these little rings, and you basically, you could use your rubber band from your office, but most of the time they are too weak. But you just simply have to try different strengths, what is right for you. And what we simply do with it is, we extend slowly our finger against the resistance of the band and releasing it. And you just repeat it 10 times, or maybe if you are stronger in this movement, 15 times, and then make a break and repeat like 10, 15 again. So basically 3 normal training sets like you would do in every gym for every other movement. And so you train the antagonist of all your fingers, and to get a more even training in your forearm. What you also can use is maybe the most underrated training tool. You can basically buy it in every supermarket, and it's a huge bucket of rice. So join me over there. So here it's simply a 10-liter bucket full of cheap rice, and it gives you a lot of possibilities to train for your fingers and also for your wrist. But right now I only show the fingers. The best way to train the extension of the fingers instead of the rubber band is to put your fingers together, go into the rice bag, that it's covered to your wrist, and now, I showed with my other hand outside, you extend your fingers, and then with straight fingers, you go out of the bucket. And again, you just simply repeat it for 5 or 10 times or more. And so again, you have this training of the extension of your finger. And to strengthen the grabbing, you just simply go into the bucket and close your finger and grab a bunch of rice. And if you like, you can add a little twist motion to it to train this in every motion and also the other direction of the twist. And close to last one, just a simple ball. So join me again. I'm pretty sure you have seen this already. It's basically a foam ball or a stress ball, and you can get them in different sizes and different strengths. So basically how much force you need to compress it. But first, we don't use it to train our muscles. We use it to train the range of motion of our thumb. So you grab the ball like this, and you start with your thumb at your index finger, and then you just rotate it all over the ball until you touch your pinky, and again. Basically, this trains the movement of your thumb, and maybe you feel a light stretch in the tendon of your thumb in this case. And also, you guessed it, you can train it just to increase the gripping strength of your hand. And now, the last piece is maybe the strangest one you see, but I promise you the best one. It's a Zinntrainer. These Zinntrainers came in different sizes for your fingers, your wrists, and your elbows and shoulders. And basically what they are, you maybe know these flexi bars, which come wobble all around, and you train all of your body with it. And these are just the tiny, tiny, tiny version of it for your fingers and wrists and so on. And for your fingers, in this case, you can slide it on. They have such a neoprene sleeve over. And here you should see it best. Yeah. You train to go just in a straight line, which is really, really bad on this hand. Yeah, up and down, up and down, up and down again. With a really small motion of your finger. And this trains the stability of the whole system, that you can keep to this movement with your finger. Yeah. And you can do this with all of your fingers and with your thumb to train every finger. Yeah, I have a lot of work in front of me with my left arm. And the same thing applies to your wrist. It's really awesome for your wrist too. but this will be part of the video next week. And if you go a little bit deeper into this topic, I highly recommend to search about climbing injury and climbing rehab. Basically, they have all the same problems as we jugglers, because they have also all this gripping strengths and all the problems with their wrists and tennis and elbow arms, but on a much higher load than we jugglers. And there are tons of content out there and really good articles about what you can do with all these problems based on climbing, but often you can simply use them for your juggling problems or vice versa, because it's always nearly the same of the problem. And I hope you enjoyed this week of not juggling content, but all about rehab and injury prevention. Next week it will be all around the wrist and maybe the week over with the elbow. So if you like to see that, click the subscribe button, ring the bell icon so you don't miss this video when I uploaded it. And so before we see us next week, here again, subscribe, and here you find another video from me. So bye.